afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fantastic Propagandacast. I'm your host, Imperial Dane. We are here to a spectacular 2 vs 2 on the Kharkov outskirts. We shall be watching Omni and Stugosaurus fighting over the 14th Tank Corps, rolling ahead with orders to crash the fascists, with Siberian and Vonivan, I believe, yes indeed, fighting here for the German 3rd Panzer Division, with orders to counter-attack and repel the Soviet attackers. In terms of commands, we're already seeing armoured assault being chosen here by Stugosaurus, with his teammate Omni having short rifle, and Gart motor available. For Siberian, we're seeing elite troops, joint operations and Jaeger armour, and finally for Vonivan, we're seeing an immediate move here to mobile defence. Back to Stugosaurus here, noting both sides are opting up for some conscripts, and numerous candidates are arriving for the German players. So pretty standard start so far.
You need something demolished?
Heading for victory points, heading for resource points, although noting that heading for the munitions first before the fuel.
The new grenadier squad is ready.
Could that be part of some greater German strategy? And of course we're all knowing here that thanks to armoured assault, Stugosaurus will be aware of their opponent movements, of course can report them on to his teammate if need be.
This is our sector now.
So stuff like that basically. And so far the Germans are adding in quite a bit of infantry, splitting up a bit here.
You need something built?
So far the Russians though have managed to secure a nice chunk of the map. Bit of barbed wire going up here, looks like he's trying to close off this part of the road.
We have more conscripts at our disposal.
First engagement about to happen here, and there you go, Pioneers bringing a 5,000 combat engineers. By the southern munitions point, conscripts joining in, the Pioneers are rapidly beginning to bleed out. Pioneers lining up maybe for a counter, seems that troops moving up here. Next second engagement here, Pioneers being stopped by conscripts behind a series of carts. But wire almost down there, Grenadiers opening up there, but give it car 98Ks. And there go main engagement up here, comrades being outflanked here, holding up here behind another wooden cart. Grenadiers making into a building here, needs to be a bit careful though. Maybe they're expecting Molotovs and thus we're pulling up, but at the same time they end up in front of the conscripts in the open. Not looking good. Their comrades almost wiped out here due to the fighting by the barbed wire. And not a lot of survivors after that little engineer mission. More grenadiers arriving there, and more grenadiers for Siberians. So both players here having 3 grenadiers versus 3 conscripts so far. Sandbags going up there. Omni under a bit of pressure here from the German infantry assault. The pressure increasing there, go Molotovs up, but he might end up losing the counter squad right there to the sharp-eyed grenadiers. There we go, torch. And we are noting here that Siberian is adding an MG42, as it does not look like Vonivan will be adding one. Their victory point secure, whereas on the right-hand side, Siberian is encountering great resistance. And their success all the way on here, the Pioneer squad has been upgraded to be able to clear up barbed wire. Conscripts here desperately trying to hold back Vonivan's advantage so far, not having the fullest degree of success. There's continuing held up here, the losses are heavy, the Russians are sort of bleeding out at sort of a slightly slower rate. In fact, we sure will use some of the advantage there. Conscript going to flank clear. Siberian is in dire straits. He needs that MG42 and maybe even Vonivan to prop him, who's now also added his own MG42. So much action at the moment. There we go, pushing it, but there we go. MG42 here to save the day, a full burst. And volleys drops like a sack of potatoes, with lots of bullets in it. Right there we see Stugosaurus. His effort has finally run out of steam, as the Germans are finally able to lay down some more serious firepower. Conscript again, MG42 needs to be careful here, could be caught on the flank, and we're noting here that Vonivan's added a mortar. MG42 sitting out, and there we go. Thranduil of Fury Doom locked. Catching the MG crew on fire, horribly so. While Vonivan though continues his ruthless advance up left flank, and at the same time taking advantage here of all the action in the centre. Siberian has snuck in a grenadier squad to harass the fuel point. Well played there. We're noting both soldiers are gone for special rifle command, and both are going for scout cars. One with a Stravniki squad in it with a flamethrower, looks like the other one does have a regular combat squad with a flamethrower. But looks like the Soviets are adding in some more aggression. They're getting there we go, grenadier squad could go down. Shock tactics in a sense employed here by him. Mechanized assault. And there we go, just tearing through the gates. He might even get another squad here, just massive damage right then inflicted already by the Stravniki so early into the game. They could already pull out the need the scout car behind. Grenadier squad moving in. Pioneers in a lot of trouble with the SVT-40 and play. Penal troops there guys going after the scout car. Can it escape? No, Panzer fast might go over, knock it out. There we go. A rocket through the engine block. Send it, well, into flames. There you go, going for the cut-off point, really doing the best to try to push back the Russians for now. The Russians are striking back harder and more viciously, so things might not hold up so well now. There you go, the Stravniki just tearing into the German troops, punishing Vonivan. Snipers landing in there for Omni. No units by the way in the scout car, just using a support platform, and even then with his 50 caliber, it is taking quite a toll on the German infantry. And some rather forward placed mines here by Stugosaurus. A bit of infiltration mine work. Could work out quite nicely. Oh dear. Siberian here making a bit of a mistake. MD-42 sent ahead without any clearance ahead. Resulting in stumbling into a rather angry looking bunch of penal troops. Left flank not holding up so well now. The counter-attack is in full swing. MD-42 starting things up. But looks like they might be able to get the mortar. Now it goes satchel charge actually. And can he get it out? No! Oh no! Mortar utterly wiped out there. A blow there to Vonivan. He certainly won't be getting any time to. Another Panzer here. Grenadiers being torn up by flamethrowers and 50 caliber rounds up close. And now the German assault has utterly stalled and in fact gone back. Snipers getting off a few kills here and there. Molotovs going off as well. Another push here for the fuel, but this time Stugosaurus is ready to intercept. Popping out to Omni by the way, who's guarding himself some guard teams. He's got guards motor. No DPs though, he should consider getting some DPs to add to his firepower versus the German infantry. Would do him good. Of course it wouldn't do the German script, but that's rather the point of it. The only thing, well, no, only Vonivan has some light mechanized companies. Siberian so far seems to be ignoring that.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
But the aggressors are going to continue the scout car. Driving out of there rather slowly. Meanwhile, things continue over here. Stugosaurus pushing it to the limit and encountering a bit too much resistance. Another Molotov, hoping to burst someone into flames, but not quite succeeding. Territory rather shifting rapidly. No technical some counter-attack here from Vonivan, which could have allowed him to grab territory faster. Is part of mobile defense. Looks like he might not be bothering with it. And we're seeing here they're giving for counter. We do finally see the DPs on the way here for Omni. About time. Then his light machine guns moving up. Snipers will need to be careful there with the light machine guns. That could easily end up rather uncomfortably.
Heads down!
Let me see one combat squad continuing to hold out here. Looks like a mine tree was sorted out the mine, in fact. Unfortunately there for Stugosaurus. And light vehicles are dying for Vonivan. 2-2-1. And the DPs are up as well. Minefield going up in front of everything. MD-42 covering the procedure. Stravniki moving in there. 2 squads now for Stugosaurus. Really adding in quite a bit of assault infantry that department. And rather adding further pressure and harm to Siberian troops. Guards been holding up here. Sniper there and extra one for the sniper. Scout K needs to be careful, constantly playing in, but another MD-42 looks like it's been set up here, covering things nicely, and one covering the center, so 2 MD-42s by the way from Siberian. And the concepts here just taking one hell of a volley of machine gun fire from the scout car and the MD-42 here on position. Adding a heavy mortar here for Omni. And a squad there heading the airstrike field on the retreat. Barely an infantry left for Omni at the moment, he needs to consider sorting that out. Stravniki continuing, might they try and get off? And there's satchel charge there. There we go. Perhaps not so best for them, mates. Yeah, that was a bit of a waste of munitions, it would seem, sadly. And Vonivan manages to upgrade then again, sneaking up some force here. Most of the fighting is happening here, but even then the Germans are trying to sort of draw forces way over here and harass their fuel. And Vonivan adding a 251 half-track. Mittlerer Schützenpanzerwagen. Ready for reinforcement and support. Veteran 2 engineers in a scout car, veteran 2-1.
How can I help?
Rifleman ready.
Guardsman so far has not done much, which is a bit unfortunate. Got this squad here running into an awful lot of trouble.
Given us 120mm mortars.
Scout car could take them out on retreat, but no more guns moving in. And there we go, Panzerfaust evade, track to overdrive. But a bit hard to overdrive when the engine is having a big fat hole in it, shaped like a Panzerfaust. But over to Siberian here, who has gone straight on here for support armor core. Looks like he will be adding the armored fist here. Engineers trying to draw fire away from the scout car, allowing it time to escape. A bold and heroic decision to try and save the car and the crew, but ultimately ends up in the loss of actually 2 engineer squad. I don't think that was quite worth it, since the scout car can't repair vehicles faster than the engineers could have. While this Stugosaurus continues to assault, there's a important in front of it. Scout car light machine guns roaring, concerts moving up. Heavy losses here for some of Stugosaurus' troops. Need to be careful, they need to be careful. The lack of cover, and the lack of cover on approach, rather making them easy targets here for the grenadiers with the light machine guns. Snipers here though, taking some pot shots from this ditch, and successfully actually getting off some good kills there. There we go, Guardsmen are finally ending in to the fight here. And we got the heavy mortar here fighting for the Russians, so far though with only 1 kill. Grenadiers here take quite a few shots there from DPs, almost getting wiped out in the process in fact. Nice job there from the Guard Rifle Infantry. So it's maintaining the front line a bit here. The Germans keep pushing, particularly now with the half track there. And of course the scout car, the 222, now doing a nice bit as well. Noticing that both players are going for a tank with a tank command as well. I can't help but feel they might be going in a bit of a dangerous path when they keep going for the same buildings. I mean, there's very little, shall we say, depth in their forces, rather towards direct, harsh assaults. But, I mean, what if that fails? Then they don't have anything to really react to it. They don't have any sort of real artillery except the heavy mortars. No chance they're getting tank destroyers or assault guns or the Katyusha, which could prove a bit dangerous for them. But let's see how it actually works out. Looks like a Panzer IV arriving for Siberian. Panzerkampfwagen 4. Should add a bit of punch doing here. No commander for Siberian at the moment. Bunkers up here to cover the left victory point. The victory points, by the way, severely in the hands of Russian. There goes Scout once more arriving. Grenadiers pushed away. And a tank here arrives as well for the Russians. Not quite on the same caliber though as the Panzer IV, but the tiny T-70 with its 45mm gun. Production halted, I believe, in 1943 in favour of smaller scout cars, or T-3476s, which were basically getting shifted over to reconnaissance duties anyways. Massive assault going up in the right flank, pushing in there with the light efforts down the left flank. Should be interesting in the centre as well. Lots of troops, and there we go, running straight into the Stugosaurus though. They do end up taking punishing losses in materials to Stugosaurus, but Veteran 2, which really makes them nice. The scout car adding a bit as well. And they could see themselves with their lives lost in the ditch, which would be a bit of a tragic loss. Scout cars and Panzer IV adding further pressure on the right flank. No pencil man machine gun there though for Siberian Panzerkampfwagens. But it is continued, the fight pioneers almost down. And there you go, Panzer IV looking ahead. T-70 is nowhere to be seen. Could have been supporting the things in the centre, but looks like he's keeping it back there, Mr. Stugosaurus, in face of the Panzer threat. There we go, moving in and finding a way there, immediately getting 1 kill. Well, I guess what here providing a fire support. The T-70 like will have that. In fact, the T-70 could roll up the entire left flank. Panzer IV might try and move in to sort it out. Now, oh, got a bit too close. Then there you go. Panzer V connects with the rear engine. And Guard Squad wiped out there by the Panzer IV. Remainers there dead and a DP left behind. That was pretty brutal. It is here under fire. And there we go, a DP secure before it fell into the hand of the forces of fascism. And joint operations is ultimately the choice here for Siberian. Could call an officer, but there we go. Pentamark machine gun as well going up there on the Panzerkampfwagen 4, increasing its anti-infantry damage noticeably. Heavy mortar at the front. Retreat active. Snipers active. Also advanced. Perhaps far for their own good. Pack 40 here. Half-tech moving in. Half-tech so far not participating in the action whatsoever. And there go T-34 charging ahead. Missing with the first shot there on the Panzer IV. Panzer IV needs to fall back. Shot going off there as well. Another shot misses. Then he is moving up. Needs to be careful there. Soviet tank might getting off your hit. Now go hit on the T-34. Then he's moving straight in. The fight for the centre victory point is going on. So one there to go. Lighter assault going on the right flank. But stalling in the face of the veterans. T3 Stugniki amongst other things. Really taking a huge toll down the Grenadiers. Grenadiers here trying to keep that point secure. Or at least get it. But not quite succeeding. And we're noting here at the same time that Vonivan is sending up a heavy Panzer Corps. Panzer IV left to hold the entire right side for the time being. Doing alright, their machine guns and high explosive shells, but there we go. T-34 once more arrives in a bit to oust it, and another Panzer IV is about to have hit the 3rd Panzer Division. And you go to force from the field here as several of the crewmen burst into flames from a Molotov. Panzer IV and T-34 almost at the same level of health. Panzer IV close to change one. T-34 not quite there. And there we go, fuel caches up. I mean, considering that both have gone for some rather armor-dependent commanders, or at least armor-heavy commanders, they should probably consider getting some fuel caches up to really help with that and get the most out of them. The more the better. Another guard squad up here, more grenades. Nice hit there. Tanks can do a bit here of support in the centre.
Light artillery awaits your orders.
And there you go, another pair of pencil mounted machine guns as well.
Anti-tank guns. New items can now be built.
Soviet heavy mortar just continues to fire away.
HMG here.
And looks like a larger armoured assault is about to be set in on the right flank. So to not getting any anti-tank weapons or tank destroyers, really they all have got is their own armour. So they will be relying largely on larger numbers to throw back the fascist attacks. And the left flank is still also incredibly open as well, so it looks like the Germans here under Vonivan will take advantage of that.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Caught in a bit of a crossfire here. Phoenix will get shredded and looks like, oh! Telemann went off there. Panzer IV getting victims one. 17 kills. No further armour from the Soviets. And Pack 43s, by the way, are already available here for Siberian should they fancy some heavy anti-tank weapons. And looks like the Luftwaffe has been some to provide air reconnaissance. Omni getting another T-34. Stugosaurus seems to be saving up for an IS-2, maybe, or a pair of T-35s. Either could work. There we go, trying to set up a defensive line here with a lot of sandbag positions. But the Panzer IV's advancing does make that a bit tricky. Lots of fire going down there. Positions forced to be abandoned. And what is this? Panzerkampfwagen has been summoned up here by Vonivan. This T-34 needs to get away! And close eventually 2-2, which means an increased rate of fire. Stugniki flanking, not how much like the left side is still rather open. Again, a push down here. They don't seem to realise. Again, those MB-42 will probably still be there, but there meanwhile, and it is caught in quite a bit of danger. Then he's going a bit too far. Oh, Vonivan did not pay attention. At least did not pull back in time. Resulting in the loss of a rather precious grenade. Oh, I should have turned out to Vonivan some time ago. My apologies there. But Panther, half-track scout car, not so much infantry though. Also looks like he has availability for a scout car. I mean, he could consider getting some Austral reserves to sort of quickly sort out the infantry department, give him some troops to hold different parts. Like for example, just have something guard this area. We could see another ghost squad here going down for Siberian, but nope. And the Soviet Air Force arrives! Immediately opening up. And Grenadier squad there could go down. Flampanzer backing up. Got one more hit there from T-34. There go, Grenadier squad down. Von Ivan is suffering heavily. Panzer on the way. Armoured assault up here on the right flank seems to have broken through. For the time being anyways. Pack 40 here and the risk of getting outmaneuvered. Not that good to be that close though. There you go, Pack 40 almost down. Panzers keep pushing on here. T-34 Veteran 2 while increasing rate of fire. And there we go, Veteran 2 for the Panzer 4. Increasing its armour. Schutzen on. Infantry trying to retake that point, but the losses in trying to hold it are simply too great with that much machine gun fire going in. 1 MD-42 and 3 Pintermount machine guns, plus of course the coaxial and hull mounted, I mean, are just taking that shot. And there we go, the sniper went down! Stuck their heads out a bit too far, and the escort's taking their heads out a bit too far. Managed to get them. Heavy mortar there continue to keep firing, hasn't done so much so far. Anti-tank grenade succeeds in damaging the engine of the Panzer IV. Getting close to the IS-2, getting very close. And there we go, Stugosaurus has managed to pull up an IS-2. Time to pop over to him.
Our points have fallen to 300.
He's a teammate. Nope, actually, never mind, that is Siberian. His teammate is actually far from getting a pair of T-30-45s, and I think he might want to consider saving up for that. Pack 40 secured in the name of the motherland. German efforts are mainly focused on the right hand side, with lighter efforts sort of being there to sort of perhaps try and draw forces away.
The enemy has taken our supply sector. Enemy contact!
But there we go, Panzer up.
Enemy infantry!
Getting these Germans a bit more heavy ranging artillery. And there you go, Panther 4 sneaking his head too far ahead, and there you go, IS-2 flanking in. Panther 4 and Panther firing Mark vehicle up down the Panther, increasing damage done. And there you go, Panther 4 almost down, one more hit, and that could be good night there for Siberian. There you go, Blitzkrieg. Looks like he manages it.
Sector is at risk.
Damn close right there. And some troops here are forming a rather last line of defense, resulting in the loss of an MD-42 there to the Russians' left-hand side. Once more pushed up. Aircraft seems to have gone down somewhere. Panther shoots and misses, and we do see a Puma here. Has been pulled up by Von Ivan to provide support for the Panther. Keep it going, to be careful about getting close to Veteran 3. Very close. Pack 40 up, Veterans 1 already. T-34 needs to get out of it. Barely make it. Oh no, the Pack 40 I think got it. Or was it the Puma or the Panther? Either way, something took out that T-34 before managed to pull back. Self-repairs going up there. IS-2 could also do with some self-repairs, just some regular repairs. And continue assault here despite knowing there's 2 MD-42s pretty much covering this in a rather nasty crossfire. Not entirely sure why they keep on insisting doing it like that. Another Flampanzer backing up for Von Ivan, by the way. More aerial aircraft going in there. No sign of upgrade there for the IS-2. Pioneer setting up a minefield. Maybe not. And looks like Omni's just adding more T-34-76s. He's not thinking about T-30-45 despite having gone for a commander which does offer them. Interesting to note. Fuel car's about to collapse, but looks like the T-34's there to the rescue. Oh, they got it, but the loss of the Grenadier squad. I don't necessarily think that was fully worth the trade-off. One more straight of damage to anything in that T-34 there will be veteran can be noticeably mobile and quite high. And there you go, Panther Force in both veteran 2, both up armour, and there you go, the T-34 being pushed away here by a nicely conducted armour assault here by Siberian. 35 kills by the way on this Panther 4. 2 hero of the Reich.
Squad of infantry has been killed. Death before retreat.
Guardsmen trying to sneak out instead. They're encountering one hell of a welcoming party there by the Germans. And popping out to Omni. And there you go, veteran with the T-34. Increasing his rate of fire, and there you go, Flammpanzerwagen kaputt. Would like to try and knock it out, and there we go, needs to get away. Panther Force moving in. T-34, they're almost down. Both Panther Forces have failed to hit, and there you go, the T-34 reverses to safety. Oh, Panther moving in, but no! T-35 actually managed to penetrate. IS-2 holds things up, Puma flying support as well. And there you go, Pack 40 joining in as well. IS-2, oh, Panther almost done, but there we go, the Pack 40 once more firing in support, forcing the IS-2 to pull back. And as all of this is happening, the Panther 4 support by infantry moves up the center. Oh, clamped up too much infantry! Careful there, Omni, 4-6. That could easily end up in tears. 44 kills. Good lord.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
More explosions. More T-34s for Omni. He seems to be not caring one bit there about the T-3045s. I mean, granted they're a bit expensive, but at the same time he would get himself some nice armoured bits. That could really take the fight to his enemy. Well, he's caught by the T-34s, quick Panzerfaust, damaging the Indian.
They are coming!
And veterans of T-34 here, the ace T-34 if you will, moving up. IS-2 joining in as well. So it's that are definitely much more on the defensive now. They're having a bit of a hard time breaking through here, with the Germans having quite a bit of weaponry as well now.
That's the last one! Guard squad ready.
With the Germans holding most of the victory points at the moment, and certainly having the advantage in the victory point department. Pentagon moves in. Almost virtually free there. Force them button down though. Veteran 334 moving in. .46 kills, it just keeps on killing. Oh dear, looks like though it's actually a bit on its own. Well, there you go, Vonivan mobilises his Panther, and there you go, the other Panther moving up. Definitely a bit tense, and there we go, Panther 40 pulled back, watch 40-34 rushes in. Needs to be careful, there we go, nice hit there from the Pack 40, veteran 3 by the way, there on the Pack 43 already. High rate of fire and high ability to turn around there. Nasty anti-tank gun, and definitely one of the more powerful ones in the Second World War. And definitely also got a buff, I mean he now has a larger crew, amongst other things. But also has a higher penetration. That thing's also pretty much going to get hit with every hit, penetration with every hit. No! Panther 4 here, veteran to 3, but also heavy damage. There's a slight option here for the sort of break through and knock it out. Bunker could also fall finally. Going for the point over here, but oh, bunker not manned yet with a machine gun.
Territory secured.
Heavy mortar not really getting much done. IS-2 here receiving continual repairs. Panzer IV almost down actually. They could try and move in on the T-34s here, try and knock it out. But of course, the Max inside here, but Pack 43 does still point more towards the right side. Less victory point falling here to the Soviets. Strafing run going in, and it is time for the mid-game analysis. So, the current situation is a pretty deadly status quo here. Sort of 50-50 split here on the map, although the victory points are constantly shifting. Slight advantage to the Germans in terms of victory point sort of numbers, but that's about it really. The Soviets do have several tanks. They have some heavier ones, and some pretty veteran ones too. Compared to the Germans, who do also possess some armour, but not quite in the same numbers, with some of them being in a pretty bad state, including this Panzer IV, which is definitely going to need some repairs before that's fit for fighting for the Reich once more. Of course, at the same time, they do have some other advantage, including that Pack 43, which rather gives them a defensive advantage, and of course now artillery. So overall, they do possess a greater sort of combined arms force than their opponents, who really only in artillery have basically one heavy mortar. Otherwise it's tanks and infantry. They lack machine guns, they lack anti-tank guns, and they lack artillery. And considering in particular that Pack 43 and the rather dominating precision it actually has, that is actually rather dangerous. And that really sort of displays one of the issues there, and then sort of basically both going for that kind of thing here, and then not having any artillery. So that, I think, is definitely a problem. Also, fuel caches are lacking. They should probably consider getting more, and they might, wanting it, to actually try at least one of them, aim for some T-34-45s, adding in some larger numbers of slightly heavier tanks than the regular T-34-76s, because with all those Panzer IVs quite veteran, and the Panther and the Pack 43 and the Puma, although that's not going to be adding so much directly to the fight. I mean, there's going to be quite a bit of heavier firepower, and the T-34-76 is going to be struggling with that. Even the veteran T-3 will not be having a fully easy time compared to, say, a pair of T-34-45s with more health, more armor, more penetration. So I would certainly suggest considering moving in towards that. Otherwise, they should get up a mechanized armor company, either of them getting some Katyushas out, maybe a pair of Su-85s or Su-76s, and begin laying down some more deadly fire towards their opponents. Otherwise, this is going to get rather ugly, because currently the Germans do have several sensors, a much greater strategic advantage when you can then consider what kind of units they have access to. I mean, quite a bit of artillery, heavy anti-tank guns, machine guns, tanks, armored cars, again compared to the opponents, infantry. A single MG42 they managed to snatch up, but that's about it really. I mean, there are some issues there for the Soviets, and that's definitely something that should be looked into. I mean, the Germans are certainly putting a bit more effort into it, and overall having a much broader force. Although Vonivan has certainly taken quite a few beatings, he's still holding on, although again he might want to consider trying out some more from reserves, although I mean I'd hardly blame him if he didn't. But it could certainly add him in some more rushed out infantry force. I mean, in terms of damage, he's definitely trailing behind Siberian at the moment, though his terms of kills sort of holding on, so it's not all bad. The Pack 43 in particular probably doing quite a bit of that damage. Stugosaurus, on the other hand, is the one trailing behind here with the Soviets. I mean, here with the IS-2, he's not really getting much out of it. He needs to get a bit more in with it. He needs to be a bit more careful. He's certainly consider shifting over to the left flank and get up the Duska machine gun, sort of do some more damage to the infantry. But over to Siberian and back to the fight. They're encountering T-34s all over the place. Oh, tried to get up a Panzerfaust there, but the force was hit before that happened. Assault here, encountering some nice resistance from machine gun bunker and the Puma. Another strafing run, killing pioneers, desperately trying to repair the Panzer IV, but leaving only bodies behind. So hopefully victory upon on the hands of the Soviets, but that's going to change. And the heavy mortar is caught by the Panzer IV. T-34 does open up this victory, and they've got aircraft crashes down as well. Heavy mortar cleared out, by the way, in all of this action and excitement. Garten moving up. Looks like the IS-2 is finally shifting. The right flank seems to be slightly being abandoned here. Still no anti-tank guns, although looks like a support member company has finally gone up. That certainly also took quite a bit of time. Pack 40 shifting off. Looks like overall a larger shift towards the left flank. Realising perhaps not so much armoured action anyways can happen on the right flank with the Pack 43 abound. Also noting that Siberian is at full pop cap here. And his Panzer IV is not going to be repaired. In fact, he's moved it forwards. I think Siberian here might be I'm not entirely sure actually what he's thinking there. There go T-34 man to push back the Panther 4 there. Also getting rather close eventually. 3 assault here, couching the T-34 and the MD-42. And like the third, I'll be harassing certain positions. Another T-34 arrives, that's 4 T-34s for Omni. And he's sending his veteran 3-1 over here on his own. Careful, careful. Or the Panther from Vonivan seems to be a bit passive as well. And they go finally get to work there. The Panther 4, 48 kills. A bit of an ace there in the making as well. With a second Panther there, ranked for Vonivan, adding in more armor there. Panther 4 coming up from the T-34s. Almost out there, got another veteran 3. Massive NG4 catching there. Pack 43 not quite pointing in the direction, and there goes Panther 4 could go down. Anti-tank, oh, it's only a bandit at the same time. Panther flanks, might force the Russians to pull away here from the Panther 4. Nice flank down the hit, or hit on the flank. But there we go, massive armored counterattack, salvages the Panther 4, T-34 down. By the way, but that was so close against that Panther as well. Other T-34 down as well, heavy armored loss all of a sudden. Where was the IS-2? Nowhere. I mean, Stugosaurus needs to get those tanks into the fight. He's holding back and leaving most of the armored fighting here to Omni with the assault. He's losing tons of tanks, including veteran armor. Not really good there. I mean, it can't really be that Omni has to do all of the fighting here. But finally, there we go. 2 IS-2s advancing. Panther coming under heavy fire here. Vonivan could easily end up losing 1 tank. Veterans 1 for 1 Panther. Panther 4 being repaired and recruit. Puma could go down. Looks, they're actually targeting the Puma first. Probably the easier target. IS-2 needs to be careful. Oh, he's splitting up the IS-2. He's splitting up. They could look like he's pulling back. Some rather pitched armor battles here, and there we go. T-34 moving in straight for the Pack 43, but Panther 4 gets back. I have no idea what he's thinking. I mean, it was a nice idea, but it should have been done by infantry. Instead, he rushed in his T-34. That was a waste of a good veteran 3. And where was the Pack 40 as well? I mean, I can't help but feel that Stugosaurus is not counting his weight all of a sudden at all. And that's rather sad to see. More aircraft crashing down all over the place, it would seem. Light artillery barrages, by the way, now also available here for Siberian. But Stugosaurus needs to begin pulling his weight. He is not. I mean, all of that was happening. He could just snug up some Stugniki. Gun up, then pulled up a satchel charge instead of sending in a rather precious T-34, only getting blasted to, well, bits.
It is ours. Enemy contact! Grenadiers here!
Counterattack towards the centre, more like machine guns being handed to Siberian and Durden. The Stugniki here having small chances. Skalka continues to hang around here, and the Panther 4 back. Automatic machine gun when they go buttoned up. Over to Vonivan, who's barely got any infantry left. Another damaged engine here, another pair of machine guns also going for this Panther. There you go, machine gun up. Doing the best to hold back the Russians, and there you go, stunned by a massive shell there from the IS-2. Shots going off, and there you go, close range hit there, penetrates without issue there on the Panther. Note of course, as you get closer to the tank, I mean the penetration increases. So up close, for example, Panther probably armor doesn't really do much against an IS-2, although vice versa for the IS-2's armor. More rockets all over the place. Grenadiers getting slaughtered for Ivan's got barely an infantry left. Really might want to consider pulling up some reserves and just filling out the front lines that way. Panther there proceeding literally too. Taking heavy damage there. One IS-2 also close to going down here. Need to be careful. Panther 4 and Panther just an easy shot. And there got the IS-2 cooked up. Looks like the Pack 43 here managed to get it. Need to be careful those Pack 43s there. Stugosaurus. Again, had he only been able to get off a satchel charge on it instead of again rushing the T-34 at it. Oh well. Well, that Pack 43 has definitely been its worth, or wait, worth in gold so far. But the Russians are beginning to bleed out. Panzer IV wants to move ahead. Oh, catches the T-34 there on the flank. Pulls up behind the shed and the Voice shot, but there we go. Pack 45, he could lose it. No, he moves it. Omni moves it in the other direction. Ow, allowing the Panzer IV to escape. Oh, what a blunder. Which I'm sure will see the Pack 40 crew sent to Siberia for aiding the fascists. Showing competence. Concepts here getting absolutely grenadiers murdered, I mean. Either way, they're dead. And we still got the Howitzer here firing away. 19 kills while the veterans too. Siberian support weapons are really doing quite a bit of work there. Yes. 2 points up secured. Vonivan now getting Panzer Grenadiers. Another push here. I mean, the MG42s have not shifted one bit here. I have no idea why Stugosaurus keeps moving infantry, not expecting them to be there. I mean, if you want to go something, it should be up on the right flank. Oh, penal troops down, but really should be a deeper flank up here, striking out the positions here somehow, but not what they're doing currently. They're fighting, they're anti-tank, but really won't do them much against the T-34s. Command tank available for Vonivan. He Befehlspanzer. Still no Tuska here for Stugosaurus is IS-2. And there we go, we do see a command tank action around here for Vonivan. And now Stugosaurus is getting regular T-34s as well. Large push apparently being prepared here by the looks of it. Another squad wiped out. I mean, Vonivan is just bleeding out infantry. I mean, that's not exactly good. I'm not entirely sure what he's thinking with all those infantry squads just being wasted. Whereas Vonivan doesn't do it able. On the other hand, his Panzers 63 kills. That's definitely an ace right there. Pack 40 under fire from 2 Panthers. Panther 4 command tank also moving up. Shots they're bouncing off. And looks like the Pack 43. He could try and get off a target weak point. No. Instead, the crew dies a horrible death. And again, moving up the centre, and again, the NU-42 pretty much stops anything by moving up there. Death and destruction in the centre once more. Seeing heavy fighting as well. Just so many tanks have blown up that small area. Looks like a bit of air recon going in on marked vehicle. Marked vehicle here on the Panzer IV, hoping to get it with the SG2 Panzer. 34. Aircraft went down close to the Pack 43, doesn't get it. Panthers moving up. Forcing the T-34 to fall back. Panther here with exposed side to the eyes too. And ramming, he's sending in his veteran to T-34. And note, there's actually been a slight change to ramming. I mean, you can only knock one thing out now on it. It's not just engine and gun, it's either engine or gun, and then give you significant bonuses of the engine damage. So right there, he wasted the veteran to T-34 trying to get that Panther. Other Panther here, close to veteran fleet, pulling back with heavy damage as well. The Soviet grasp here is rather rapidly falling. Oh, the guys here murdered by the T-34 whole machine guns. Bunker just collapsing by the looks of it. Over 2 Stugosaurus who's barely got anything left. Another bunker up here, by the way, for Vonivan. The 63 killed Panzer IV here just moving through the wreckage. T-34 trying to do some damage and almost knocks out the Panther, by the way. Not bad, but ultimately the amount of other German units nearby proves a bit too much here. And Siberian's fetching the V-Panzer IV just clears out house. Turning into numerous enemies there, going after the heavy mortar. Which really hasn't been able to do much here for Omni. Buttoning it up. Ice zooming in behind. Ow! They miss! It misses! Good lord, Vasily! Where did you learn to hit? Almost got it. Eventually through there for the ice suit. Higher range. And of course more accurate. And looks like he finally got the Pak 43 onto the MU-52. After so long they finally got it. Just sad they couldn't get it earlier. Otherwise they could have probably saved themselves a lot of pain. Ultimately the T-34 went down though. MU-52 they're stolen. Made off with. Panzer IV, Panther's command tank and everything just letting loose. 69 kills on the Panzer IV Ace.
We are bleeding, comrade! Take cover!
But I've been constantly pulling in fresh Panzer Grenadiers.
Man down!
Now take down the conscripts.
Watch out for that tank!
Direct assault there with the MU-42 unsurprisingly yields issues. There's still that one MU-42 and also a Panther. They're an upgrade there. Ice 2 moves in. Only half health, no repairs. A fresh Pak 43 going over with Siberian, locking up the left flank now.
Yes.
The fighting here is definitely brutal. 72 kills.
Units awaiting orders. We have a new unit. Enemy forces are
Snipers and field guns now dying for Stugosaurus.
Flame
Not entirely sure the snipers are needed. The field guns might do better, to be honest. They might have some problems here with the howitzer. Siberian letting loose with another barrage. And nope, the howitzer actually now shoots less. I think it's only about 4 rounds now per barrage. So you have to make them count a bit better. Apparently very close to Veteran T3. Lots of housing here shattered. Except down here that practically no damage. A 3rd Panzer Division holding up quite nicely. More bunkers up here. Digging in pretty stubbornly. More T-34 76s. A massive Panzerwerfer barrage goes off there. Doesn't actually do anything though. Satchel charge on the Panther. With marked vehicle on. Huge amount of damage to the Panther. Other Panther features virtually too as it happens as well. T-34's moving in. Panzer IV taking a massive hit as well. Large fallback here. And hiccups. Panzer IV goes down. T-34 down. I think that was Siberian's last. No, he's got this one over here, which is closing in on Metro 3. We're seeing Vonivan just calling in more armour. Or at least an armoured car. That's what command taking point. Neither repairs now. It's really up to Vonivan to hold the line for the time being. Or to push for that matter. Over to Omni. Stugosaurus' eyes 2 once more out of the fight. Needs to be repaired rapidly. Omni having practically nothing to hold back the armoured onslaught except some anti-tank rifles and anti-tank grenades. That's going to make things tricky. One field gun there holding up the right hand side, but that's about it. But somehow they're doing it. More Panzerwerfer. None of them hit the field gun. God in Himmel.
We are as ready as we
Just
can
more
be.
T-34s being pushed out. More T-34s, more T-34s, more T-34s.
Vehicles can be marked and targeted.
And a second Pak 43 here for Siberian. He's got 2 heavy anti-tank guns up here, pretty much making armor movement difficult for the Russians, in particular near the victory points. And now the lack of artillery of any serious kind is really hurting them again. They only really got the heavy mortar, but they're not really getting much out of it. Cards are firing again, closing on veteran C3. Another tank blown up.
Has been lost in the defense of the Rodina.
The Pak 43 here proving, of course, to be an insurmountable obstacle. By the direct armoured assault. Panzer IV taking heavy damage. Siberian trying to blitz it out of there. But of course you got the Pak 43 providing covering fire. IS-2 need to be careful. It's eventually to IS-2. Don't do it, Stugosaurus. No, he's moving it in. He's moving it in. And there we go. Veteran shoot. No. Oh, it got the Panzer IV, but once more the Panzer IV holds out. Crushing numerous pioneers, so as a retreat, but still the Panzer IV once more got abandoned. Krupp steel indeed. Panthers finding out here with the IS-2.
New units have arrived. Yes, comrade.
More armor being rushed forward in an attempt to force some kind of breach, but things are beginning to look pretty bad. We know here that Siberian's actually called in a field officer now. Service are firing in support of his advance. To the glory of Deutschland. And there you go, veteran if you're on the Panther, increased rate of fire and increased mobility. Several shots going off there. And again the Pak 43 just fires, then takes out a nasty chunk out of the health on the T-34. Close veteran free. I mean, at this stage, it's largely GG. I mean, I suppose to certainly still pull something off, but it's going to require them both coordinating for one rather particular push, destroying one of those Pak 43s rapidly before they have time to react.
IL-2 attacking armor.
Instead, what we're getting is basically a bit more loose fighting. Looks like the Haymortar's finally firing a bit in support here and doing something. Panzer firing again. And again, they don't seem to do an awful lot. Certainly the Howards are doing a much better job. Sandbag position going up.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Taking fire! Awaiting orders.
The veteran C3 Panther, an ace in its own right.
Cut off a sector. Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
With its high velocity 75 mm gun.
Target vehicle marking available.
Rather nasty work here. Well, lacking a bit to spot for it, otherwise you could probably take on that IS-2 easily. And for your fighting snipers, bad position there. 20 kills probably on that Panther. Command tank there holding up as well. Panzer getting repaired. Things are quieting down a bit and over to Siberian. Not Siberian. 3 pioneers, quite a bit of support weapons. Although he's now getting a stronger shots. And his Panzer IV is ready for the fight again, although he can't get it because he's got too much population.
The adversary has slipped to 100 points.
Basically the Germans have dug in and the Russians are simply lacking in weapons to dig them out. Doesn't matter how much they like. Again, in the long run, their strategy rather ended up biting in the arse as the Germans began realising what was going on and basically countered it pretty hard with Pack 43s.
AT gun here.
MT combat! Turret is ready!
Guardsmen moving in, but getting murdered here by the Panzer IV. Panther joining in for the fun as well. Flanking the IS-2 here. Field gun continuing to fight, keeping just one Panther at bay. He could try and blitz here, by the way. There we go. Actually pulls back though. And pop smokes though. Good job there, popping smoke. Officer though, heroically trying to take a point, ends up taking massive losses, or at least his men do. And now we go, the veteran of the Panther moving forward, straight in front of the line of the Pack 4 field gun. Artillery swaps out, never mind then. That makes things even easier here for Vonivan's Panzerkampfwagen 5.
Panzer 4!
Smokescreen being laid down in an attempt to cover up the advance of the victory point. The Russians living it desperate. And another T-34, but apparently not desperate enough to try and spread out to some other things than just T-34s. Right now, the Germans could actually make a large armoured push, but for some reason they're not interested in pushing either.
Enemy is down to 75 points.
Let's go to speed this up a bit. Another veteran 3 Panther. That's a bit of a rarity, but it's also been quite the armoured fight we've been seeing here. Despite the bit short-sighted strategy here by the Serbs employed, I mean, they've still done quite well with their armour. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be seeing 2 Vet 3 Panthers if the Serbs had just been messing about. There you go, Pack 43 got another kill. Looks like, could this finally be it, the final assault? Come on. Panthers moving in, and there you go, gain. A loss for the Soviet Union, the 14th Tank Corps failed in its assault. The Germans were given enough time to dig in with a fresh line of defences and broke the third assault, which rather, despite having rapidity and some firepower in its favour, rather lacked combined arms and ultimately artillery to sort of really break through the German defences once they were then there. And that was really one of the main issues. It was rather a particular one-sided strategy. Again, it was rather dependent on tanks, scout cars, and a few commanders again with some tanks, but again, there was no depth. It was just practically T-34, 76 or IS-2s. There was no, say, artillery. There were no assault guns that could have definitely helped them, or even a pair of T-34-85s. I mean, that might also provide them with a few benefits in the fight, but apparently they never quite got around to that, and they overall really make things a lot easier for the Germans in several places. Plus, at times they rather didn't coordinate easily, and for some reason, despite the Germans never moving those MG-43s, they kept rushing into straight there, hoping it'd be gone, it constantly losing men. Plus, the Pack 43s here were not dealt with, at least the first one was not dealt with in time, which overall ended up costing the Soviets heavily in tanks, heavily losing them many veteran tanks, and that's not really good. So there were definitely some problems, I think, also in working together for the Serbs compared to the Germans, who really sort of played a sharp game. They had sort of things divided. They had different roles. One went for the cheaper Panzers, the other went for the heavier, had some support weapons as well. They had artillery, one of them had some. I mean, there was a much greater, sharper division between the two, and they sort of played much better. They also were much better at shifting things around, supporting each other, attacking, keeping up with pressure, and sort of map control as well. I mean, the Soviets had a sort of nice beginning, but they weren't really able to capitalize upon it. Again, it rather came down to the fact, again, they didn't make that great use of their commanders, and again, they were a bit too, well, one-sided in what they actually went for in terms of teching. So that was really one of the major issues and something you always have to be careful about. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't both go for tanks, but at least, consider having some artillery some way, at least through doctrines or something. I mean, the heavy mortar here really didn't much, and they should at least had another one maybe. But I think really a mechanized armor company would have done a lot more for them than just spamming T-34 76s. Also, Stugosaurus several times was much too passive, and his IS-2s could have easily done a lot more early on. Instead, they were held back, and ultimately then ended up being basically a huge drain of resources. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this spectacular 2 vs 2. I mean, a really massive armoured fight. We have rarely seen, I mean, really against sort of highlights the new armour system really implemented here thanks to the Elbit Day update. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. If you did want to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, you know, send in replay and provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.